You're eating less, exercising more, and somehow your belly feels bigger. Maybe it's fat, maybe it's bloat, or maybe just water weight from inflammation. But if you've been stuck, frustrated, and just need to get through the first few days because you've lost motivation and are having decision fatigue from second-guessing everything you eat, this is your 5-day reset designed by yours truly. This isn't a detox, this isn't a cleanse. This is a 5-day of eating and moving in a way that actually works, especially if you have insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, to decrease bloat, inflammation, avoid toxins, and have the right macros to jumpstart the weight loss journey no matter what phase you are in life. In addition to the exact meal plan and movement plan and tracker that I'll have in the show notes for you, I want to mentally prep you to build sustainable habits each day. So each day, I'll walk you through one habit that helps your body let go of what it's been holding on to. And you'll learn to eat in a way that supports fat loss, calms inflammation, and finally helps you feel better in your own skin. So just to reiterate, you'll go to your daily plan that day, right? And there's a grocery list attached, so you'll be able to prep ahead of time. And then each morning, come back to the video and watch the tip of the day so you can mentally manifest and prepare for each change. So I want you to be commenting throughout the challenge, okay? You know I see the comments, you know I reply. So I will be running this also in our free type 2 diabetes and obesity support group. We do challenges all the time. I usually go live while we're doing it, and I run you through it again while I'm simultaneously doing it. It's super fun. We did this for our last Lose 10 Pounds in 4 Weeks challenge, and we had so much fun interacting with each other. I had so much fun with every one of you. So please join, or just comment on YouTube if you're not comfortable on Facebook. Oh, and by the way, if you noticed, my background is bare. I just moved literally a day and a half ago. So I honestly have been doing more takeout while finding my pots and pans than I'd like to admit. And I know a lot of you have been on vacations, and when that happens, we kind of get off our game, you know? And so that's what inspired the 5-day challenge. I personally needed a reset, and I thought I would just share it with you. I figure you're on summer and there's vacations, and you may very well be in the same boat. So vamos, let's go and start with day 1. Day 1, learn your hunger. If you don't know when you're hungry or when to stop eating, no plan will work for you. Although I'll be honest, it's hard to get fat off chicken and vegetables. But that being said, if you can't learn to eat when you're hungry and stop when you're satisfied or have had enough, you'll never be able to enjoy your food and lose weight long term. So today we rebuild the hunger cues. Before you eat, check in with your body. I like to use this scale. 1 means you're starving, dizzy, and you think, wow, I've worked all day, I'm coming home, I'm ravenous, or worse. Maybe you even had to stop and get fast food on the way because you were so dehydrated, hungry, and shaky. Okay, so that's 1 on the scale. 10 on the scale is Thanksgiving dinner. You're stuffed and you're sick. Or maybe Sunday dinner with pasta dinners at home at a family's house. Or if you're Middle Eastern like me, just huge amounts of kofta, rice, full beans. You get the drill. Now, what I want you to do is eat when you're out of 3. So you feel actually growling in the stomach, true hunger that isn't dehydration. So meaning you've had water before and you still feel growling. And then I want to eat, right? I want you to eat till you're at a 6 or 7. Not full, but just satisfied. You've had enough. You feel nothing in your stomach. Okay. Now the trick to this scale is you do have to drink water about 30 minutes before the meal, not during it. This is going to help with 2 things. 1, it'll dilute your stomach acid if you drink it too close to the meal, meaning the stomach acid needs more acid to do its job and break down food and improve digestion. So I'd like you to do it before so the stomach acid can get nice and concentrated again. 2nd, it prevents you from mixing up hunger and thirst, right? So you've taken care of the thirst before the meal, think 30 ounces, and then you'll eat because you're truly hungry. This is very true, especially if you're on a GLP-1 agonist, which I've seen with my patients. Thirst and hunger tend to mimic each other on the drug. Now, for those new to this or on a GLP or who are resetting their hunger cues because of a metabolic change, let me give you examples. Say you became pregnant, your metabolism has changed, your hunger cues are going to be different. You stop breastfeeding, your metabolism is going to slow down again. You don't need as much food as before. And that happens so often. People stop breastfeeding and stop losing weight. Or maybe you're going through menopause, okay? And menopause, a lot changes, right? And so I'll do a dedicated episode on menopause soon. But the point is that when your metabolism changes, the amount you need to eat and drink changes. So you're likely requiring different amounts of food, so you have to reset your hunger scale. The same would go for anyone with an autoimmune disease like hypothyroidism, and their medications are adjusting, their metabolism is also adjusting. So you really need to get really in time with it. So how do you do this if you don't remember what hunger and fullness feels like because you've just been kind of like on autopilot eating the same meal, same time every day? Well, I like to do the timer method. You set a timer and you wait 2 minutes. You start to eat. If you're hungry, after 2 minutes, eat, okay? If you're not hungry and you're done, throw that shit in the trash. I've heard this before. I think it might have been Corinne Crabtree. Someone said it and it just stuck with me. Better in the trash than on your ass. For real. This one habit alone can change everything. This was a big one for me. I would just sit there and keep eating and avoiding the next task I had to do for the day. So it's very important that when you're done, you're done. You get it off your plate and you get away from that table. Okay, comment day 1 and tell me your hunger number before and after your next meal. Okay, so that's your accountability for this day. Day number 2, let your gut chill. If your belly feels tight or bloated by the end of the day, that's usually not fat. That's your gut asking for a break. It can happen after a round of antibiotics or chronic inflammation. So sometimes we need to let our gut chill. And here are some tips to do that, especially when we have a lot of bloat. Odds are maybe we're eating out a lot of foods that aggravated us. I know for me, if I love Jersey Mike's. I'm like a big sub lady, okay? I swear to God. But if I have that, I go to do a shore weekend, I'm so bloated and I know my body needs a break. Could be all the different types of meats and cheese, I don't know. But today's habit is simple. Keep your meals basic as fuck and cooked, all right? Sorry for the French. I'm from New Jersey. I can't help it. Okay, so how are you gonna do that? You're gonna use 3 to 4 ingredients max in your meal. So you're gonna go for cooked instead of raw as well. So that helps start to bring things down for your body. So example, raw broccoli is super good for you, but when it's cooked, it's a little more gentle on the body. And if you've been dealing with bloat, your stomach's been acting up, maybe cook it. Skip things like soy. Soy can bloat us terribly. Fake sugars or sugars, that you put into ingredients or anything that comes in a crinkly package, this will bloat you and often have ingredients that destroy your gut health. I actually do like certain alternative sweeteners. See my alternative sweetener episode where I kind of break down my favorites, but to each his own. All right, so I want these meals warm, simple, so they're easier to digest. Less chaos, less bloating. Let me give you a couple examples, and you'll have your meal plans, so don't worry, that's all set for you there. But an example would be fish and sauteed spinach and some avocado. Chicken, cooked broccoli that's cooked very well with a little olive oil, salt, and pepper. Ground turkey, zucchini, and olive oil. And I want you to see, how do you feel after the meal? Like maybe 2 to 3 hours. If you can put a word to it, how's your energy? How's bloating? Are you feeling clear? Are you still hungry? If a meal didn't serve you, I want you to ditch it because maybe it's just not jiving with your gut. I know many clients, the first month I work with them, we do a repair type of diet and we avoid things like mushrooms, eggs, dairy, and alcohol just for the first month if they have gut problems especially. And then I reintroduce those ingredients back in over a 3-day period. So say I made you give up eggs because I thought maybe you have an egg sensitivity, then we need to outdo. Because yes, you can have a sensitivity and get rid of it. So 3 days, after the 30 days, eggs in a row. You have it every day for breakfast. You feel good? Great, it's back in. And then do the next ingredient and next ingredient, 3 days at a time. Anyways, comment on day 2 with your meal and 1 word of how it made you feel. This practice is going to really make you eat for energy and how it makes you feel rather than it being healthy or clean, etc., etc. It really changes your mindset about food. Day 3, eat in the right order. Most people eat too many carbs too fast in the wrong order. We call it nutrient sequencing is what I'm going to explain now, okay? So even healthy meals can spike your blood sugar if you eat them backwards. So here's what you're going to do today, particularly if you suffer from insulin resistance or are trying to build up your protein to build up muscle, like maybe menopause or perimenopause. These are the kind of things I want you to do to really make sure you get the foods that fuel you and get enough of them. And not as much of the other foods, but also to balance out your blood sugar. You're eating protein and fat first, veggies second, and then fruit if you're able to handle it, depending on your carb tolerance. So some diabetics, right, carbs will spike them no matter what, especially in the beginning of their journey. So if you're on a keto carnivore-esque diet, that's fine. If you're not, try to keep your carbs, even good ones like fruit, at the end after the protein, the fat, and the vegetables. Because if you have carbs last, right, if you aren't already satisfied, yes, technically veggies are carbs, but I mean simple carbs here. Think potatoes, pasta, bread, these kind of things. And only one serving at a time if you're going to do it. So if you're having them at all, remember, this is a 5-day reset. So we're reducing all the bloat or taking out these simple carbs that often lead to bloat. A serving would mean about 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup. I think this is where we get mixed up a lot, right? We say, oh, I only had a couple spoonfuls. That adds up quickly. And why do we do it in this order? Why do we nutrient sequence? For those with insulin resistance, okay, basically protein and fat help blunt the spike of blood sugar. And then veggies add fiber, which also prevent the glucose spike and drop. So when carbs come in last, your body's protected and the sugar doesn't shoot up. And that's important. Why? Because when your sugar spikes, we secrete a ton of insulin. Okay, and insulin is supposed to put the glucose in the cells for energy. But when insulin drops the sugar, our energy also crashes and our hunger hormones shoot through the roof. So that makes us ravenous 3 hours after dinner. So if you've ever had to eat a snack late night after dinner, it could have been because of that pasta meal, right before. So this method will lower your sugar a lot and prevent the energy crashes, hello 3 p.m. crash or after dinner slump. And that's my final tip for the day. Now, while we're talking about not doing things in excess, right? Like carbohydrates, keeping it to a serving, I want you to experiment with spraying your oil. You'll see me do this in various recipes. I put my olive oil in a spray bottle, and the reason why I do that instead of pouring it is that the calories from oil add up fast, and they don't fill you. Think about a shower and a bath. If you start one bathroom shower for 5 minutes and a bath water for 5 minutes, what will happen? The bath will be more full compared to the shower. The same goes for fats. 1 tablespoon of olive oil is about 120 calories. Now, there's a bunch of videos showing this with eggs. I like this one here where it shows the difference in calories between 2 eggs getting cooked, 1 getting cooked with just a little bit of oil and 1 with poured oil. The dishes look exactly the same, but the difference in calories is over 200 calories. And if you do this change consistently, it will help you lose an extra 5 to 10 pounds a month without even noticing it. So try spraying your oil. Comment in day 3 with what you ate, at what order you ate it, and if you tried spraying your oil. Day 4, slowing the hell down. Most of us eat too fast. We're multitasking. We're standing at the counter. We're on our phones. We're reading and studying. I was super guilty of this. I used to sit and eat while I studied, thinking I didn't have time to eat. And then we wonder why we're always overeating. Well, today, your job is one thing and one thing only. Slow down. Sit with your meal. Smell your meal. By the way, my 4-year-old daughter, Olivia, she always does this. She'll literally take, even if I cut her an apple that she knows it's the same Honeycrisp apple, she will literally take it and sniff it, and then start chewing on it. And she's really focusing on what she's putting in her body. And I didn't teach her this. She just naturally does this. So there must be something to it, right? Anyways, smell your food, put the fork down between bites, chew your food all the way. And before you go back and get more, remember to go back to the habit from day 1 and ask yourself, am I satisfied? Let your brain and gut catch up. Studies show this takes about 20 minutes. So take your time, enjoy an epic conversation while you sit with your food. Let your fullness hormones show up. This isn't about eating less. It's about eating at a pace where your body can actually say, I've had enough. Comment day 4 with what change you slowed down today. Day 5. Congratulations, you made it all the way to day 5. You've been doing this and showing up for yourself for 5 days. Your body is shifting, we're losing a little water weight, and now we're gonna lock it all in, okay? We're gonna stick with our hunger scale and go back to day 1 if you need to. Okay, redo your scale, go through what I said in the day 1. Don't put your gut through too much, right? We're gonna give our gut a break. So if it did slip up over the past 4 days, don't worry about it, jump right back on it. Use the 2-minute timer if needed, if you're overeating. Sequence your food in the right order to keep your blood sugar balanced, okay? And don't add excess fats or oils for no reason, unless it really adds to the dish. And most important, don't start over. Just repeat what's working. Fat loss isn't about being perfect. It's about finding what works and doing it over and over and over again. Comment on day 5 with your biggest win over the past 5 days. Maybe your energy changed. Maybe your belly feels flatter. And maybe you just feel like you again. Now, for those who want to continue this journey, what's next? You just gave your body real support without tracking, starving, or guessing. If this worked, that's not luck, that's biology. And inside my app, the Diabetes Reversal app, we give you plans like this all year long, every week. Real meals, real movement, real coaching if you want it. You'll get protein cheat sheets, grocery list, step-by-step guides, really into what I've been doing here in these short 5 days. And in my full type 2 diabetes reversal method, it's designed to help you lose weight, lower your insulin levels, and take your health back, regardless if you're diabetic or pre-diabetic or feel like you're starting to go through insulin resistance. So you can take the knowledge you've learned and do it on your own, or you can do it with us inside the app. Either way, you've already started, so keep going. All right, I'll see you guys in the next.